again, a little different cinematic with this one. We tried to set up some stuff that kind of looked cool and that kind of played off the label. As you saw in that video, we'll give you another look right there. That's a nice cold one. You know, they got this really cool, label on there that has like all these planks and this, you know, the wood, which is the DankWood. So again, we are reviewing Founders DankWood. This beer is an Imperial Red IPA that is aged in bourbon barrels. Yeah, I've had, as you can see, the couple empties here, and that's what we used when we shot the footage in the beginning.
This will be my first time today experiencing this beer.
So he is a, how would you say, a DankWood virgin? 12.2 ABV Imperial Red that is aged in those bourbon barrels. Now, the one thing that I want to introduce you guys to before we crack this, and we're gonna, Matt, can you start pouring yours if you want, so you can get a look at some of what this looks like. Is there's a beer app that I use to track the beers that I've drank, the ones I've enjoyed, the ones that I didn't enjoy so much. So you can always go back and look and see what you've done. You can take pictures and it'll log it into the app, the whole 9 yards. It's called Untapped. UNTAPPD, Untapped. And my handle on there is Reefman and the letter V. So you can friend request me. You can check out the reviews as we do it here. We're also going to start doing a number or a scoring system for the beers that we drink.
You guys can find me at MattThomas59. But as you guys can see, it's a nice, I wouldn't say dark beer, but got some nice caramel color tone to it.
I will take that from you. Look at the caramel. Now this is, I like big heavy beers. I like the big thick stuff. I don't mind IPAs in any way. I like the New England style stuff that's, you know, all sticky and dank, and I just like something bolder, bigger bodied. I love the stouts, I love the porters, and this one is right up my alley. You know, anything that's oak aged or you know, barrel aged is awesome. This one is an oak barrel, bourbon barrels. One of their other beers that I really like is Backwood Bastard. That's a Scotch ale that is barrel aged. That's really good. They're also known for their Kentucky Breakfast Stout, their KBS. That is a seasonal production that is barrel aged and it comes out. I actually have a couple of those downstairs that I've been kind of holding on to because they're hard to get. They're also known really well for is their CBS, which is their Canadian Breakfast Stout, also another barrel aged, fantastic. And these are all stouts, imperial stouts, big meaty, really good, just like this right here. So you can see right off the bat, nice caramel color, and this head just sits right on there. You know, I didn't work hard to pour it. I actually tried not to get a lot of head on there, but you can see it's a nice, I don't know if you can see that color. It's not really white, but it's a nice creamy color head. Wow. You get this like fresh aroma, a little bit of, I can smell like some sweetness, some caramel, but hops because of the, I think because of the IPA.
It doesn't smell like your typical IPA. Like a couple videos back that I'm not the biggest fan of IPAs. Like a smooth smell to it. Oh wow. Now that's an IPA I can drink. Some
bitter punch initially when you drink this on your tongue, but then that kind of gives away to oaky bourbon, and then it finishes with like a little bit of sticky and then some caramel flavor. I mean, that's at least initially what I get out of it.
Yeah, you definitely get that.
And now there's some more of the hop and bitterness coming back on the sides of the my tongue.
But yeah, that bourbon barrel really sticks.
Yeah, it's really good. I like this. I could drink IPAs like this all the time. The problem with this being 12.2% is
you can't drink.
You can't drink a lot of these. Now again, I've gotten into a couple before, and this is really a sipper. You know what I mean? It doesn't taste 12.2%. It's not terribly boozy in your mouth. There is that initial bitterness punch.
You get the barrel.
Wood, not raw wood. Tannins, that's more what I'm after, is the tannin flavors. And then it gives way to some of those tannins from the wood, and then you get some of that bourbony stuff, and then...
Like literally, Like, I wouldn't even have to drink. I can just sit here and smell it all day long.
That is really good.
It's got bourbon, hoppy, barrel-aged, woody.
And that's exactly...
favorite.
And now, I didn't read this beforehand, but that is exactly what I just pulled out of this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is woody. It is those tannins from the wood and a little bit of bourbon notes, some caramel stuff. I guess it didn't say caramel, but I kind of got a little bit caramel. This particular beer is scored at a 3.95.
Yep, so its overall rating from 13,000 ratings, it got a 3.95.
So we said 12.2 for the ABV.
Yeah.
What's the IBU?
So the IBU is 65.
It's definitely not a 10 like the last review on the Coors Light. But I think the difference why this is so smooth is just because it's really aged and really well in the barrels.
It tastes really darn good, and it's warm up here.
Tastes really darn good.
I don't say anything that we had to bleep out, so I was trying to find a different word.
I haven't figured out in my editing how to do the beep. Be pretty retarded if, excuse me, when I don't use those words anymore.
Yeah.
I'd be really editing challenged if I voiced over a beep where there was a swear word. So.
They do those in movies for when they put it on like the TV and they want to cut out the cuss words and they start.
We're going to turn it into a Chinese martial arts film before you know it. Oh no, look what he said. Yeah. 65 IBU, 12.2 ABV, super smooth. It's not boozy. It's not punchy with the bitterness. A lot of rich characters in this beer. There's all kind of profiles. For me, this is probably like a 4.5, 4.7, something like that. This is really up there for me because I've not had an IPA like this. You know, all this hoppiness and stuff is kind of, you know, smoothed out and fallen back and leads way to all these other beautiful parts of this beer. Is great. So for me, and I'll score it when we're done. So send me those requests. That'd be great to link up with some of you guys that are using Untapped. And it is Ridiculous, which is another beer that they did.
I rated it a 5. The woody flavor, the bourbon, how smooth it is. I found an IPA that I will love to drink.
The profiles in your mouth remind me more of like a Scotch ale. Just not what I would have thought it would have tasted like. I am delightfully surprised by that because I love this thing.
Yeah,
this is an excellent IPA.
We would talk about too is the color of the beer.
32, 35 out of 40. Can't see through it. We'll also zoom in on that for you, but you can see there. You can't really see through that, but you get some great, you know, caramel colors there. The snake component of this video that we're gonna do, I believe we're gonna, we discussed this before, we're gonna talk about, you know, if you wanna turn the snake thing into a little bit more than having a few snakes at the house. You wanna maybe breed, you want to maybe make it a small business, and I think we're just going to kind of BS about that, throw out there some of the things we've learned along the way, things we would have done different. And Kobylka says it best, all we have is time. With time, there really is no wrong way to do it, but if you want to be successful, monetarily productive from the beginning, there is a better way to do it. To kind of start this discussion off, you know, when we first started out with this, with the ball pythons specifically, or even snakes in general, you know, we were excited about just the snakes themselves. And, you know, we made some quick purchases that were, you know, inexpensive snakes, which is fine. But then that, you know, that rolled into, you know, quickly, and then it was 20, and then that 10 became 20. Right around that point, it was like, oh, this is gonna be cool, we get excited. The thing that we didn't really do, and the number one piece of advice that I would give anybody, even contemplating breeding down the line, if right now you're just gonna buy a pet, research the genes that you're purchasing. Find out where they are in the market, you know, on a business level. So obviously those genes have to be something that you like in the way an animal looks, and then find out where that is within the marketplace, so that when you start buying these animals and you start breeding them, you know what to expect from those pairings money-wise, if you're gonna breed and stuff, you're gonna have to sell the animals. You know, I agree with Brian Barczyk. I agree with Miguel has said it. I know a few other people have said it. There is nothing wrong with taking something you love to do and making money at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a good business person, you are going to do both parts well, and you're going to make money at it. And that's okay. The normal person understands that, you know, if this is going to be their livelihood, they have to take care of it.
Yeah,
like you can cut corners, and you can ship, you know, sick snakes or dead snakes or, you know, mite-ridden snakes. But your business plan ain't gonna last long if you're doing stuff like that. Find the genes that you absolutely like. And if that means that you have to save for 6 months or a year to purchase that animal, as the #1 piece of advice, that's what you do. You're thinking that, you know, possibly breed down the road. So if you buy a Mojave and you breed it to a normal, you'll have the experience, and that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And you'll get, you know, the experience with eggs and cutting and candling and setting up box and incubation and the whole 9 yards. But when it comes time to get rid of those snakes, it's going to be a big challenge to move normals and to move single gene snakes. If you can save the money, spend the extra dollars, and get the, you know, the $1,000 snake or the $2,000 snake, and you grow that animal up, if you decide to breed that animal, you're going to create things that, if you're calculated in what you pair them with, you can create things that people haven't created yet.
Right.
And you're going to make money at it.
Exactly.
Off the first clutch. An example of that is Miguel. Nothing else other than the Cypress clutches that he did this year, which you could reasonably do for in the neighborhood of about $5,000 for the, well, actually, I don't even think it is that much, honestly, because he bought a male, and then he had some females that were decent females, but they were like 2 gene females or 3 gene females, yeah, which you can buy for $500. He got the Cypress, I think it was a pastel Cypress male or something like that, and he was just killing it.
Yeah.
He's killing it. Like, he had 2 clutches, and he had world's first from each one, and each clutch is sold.
Yeah.
It's gone.
He knew where he wanted to go with those genes.
He had a calculated plan.
Right. Yep.
You know, and again, just for ha-has, I'll put, I think it's over, it comes
right
out on
here.
this side.
Yeah, I'll point. Woo, right here.
Or maybe it comes on this side.
Well,
I can never remember because the camera turns around. Yeah, it's going to be right here. I'm going to put a link to Miguel's video about his Cypress clutch, at least one of them for you guys to take a look at, so you can check that out. The #1 piece of advice I would give is to really think about investing in an animal as a pet if you think maybe down the road you're going to breed. And if you're going to breed, you know you're going to do this breeding, girls.
Yep. They take the longest to grow.
And find genes that you absolutely love and spend as much money as you can on those girls. Because, I mean, most stuff, the girls themselves probably won't drop in value, but the offspring as babies will. Yeah. So if you're buying a girl that's, you know, $500-600, you know, that same genetic makeup as a female, by the time she gets to age and is bred, is not going to be worth the same as when you bought it. Well, while he recovers from going down the wrong pipe, you know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to give you an example of what not to do.
So I went to a breeder that's local around. You know, went in, saw this snake I thought looked really cool at the time. Told that it was a pastel lesser, maybe yellow belly. He wasn't sure. At that time, I had no clue what a pastel lesser yellow belly even looked. It was just a poor decision on my part. Should have done more research. And now knowing what we know now, probably wouldn't have been a purchase that I would have made in the beginning.
I guess leading into advice #2, you know, even if you decide to do ball python, pick a certain gene to really focus on and work really good, or like a recessive gene, because those tend to hold value, and just work different angles with that.
And they look cool.
Some of the recessives do, but you know, in my thing, and this has always been my issue. Like, I used to breed fish back in the day, and I had like 50 aquariums, and you know, and it was always because I liked so many of them. I wanted this one, I wanted that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, And that's kind of the way I started this. And
it's like, oh, that's cool. Let's go with this.
Yeah, so this is season 3, and I'm finally realized that I don't need, 150, 200 females to produce monetarily where I want to be if I buy the right animals. So the tail end of 2017 to now, I really changed my focus where I'm not really doing auctions unless it's a ridiculous animal. I'm not just buying things on a whim. A lot of my purchases are really calculated purchases of, higher end animals that are gonna, produce higher end babies, and to me that is just going to make it more fun to work with. And I have no problem. I mean, and I do this with dragons. Like when I go to a show, my dragons are not cheap. I do not have $30 dragons. I do not have $40 dragons. I do not have $50 dragons. And there are people all around me that are vending. There could be another 7 or 8 tables, and there are $30, $35, $40 dragons, and that's great. And you can go buy that. The one thing that I tell you is, though, you need to buy an animal that you're going to like to look at.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have, hopefully, this animal for a long time. Like a dragon itself is going to live like 10 years. Now, the thing that I do that I've never heard of anybody else doing, or we do, is we warranty our animals. So if you buy a dragon from me, it's going home with a warranty. So if anything goes wrong with that animal within 14 days of leaving that table, I'm going to find an equal replacement at no cost to you. Nobody does that.
Not only dragons, also our ball python.
That's everything. But I'm talking specifically about dragons right now.
Yep.
So I warranty my stuff, and you know what? That warranty has a price. And again, when I bought dragons, and even when I bought this stuff, now we didn't make great decisions with this stuff, and most of the time we bought from high quality people. So at least the genetic quality of these animals are top notch. Right. They're Kobylka. They're Nerd, they're like Wilbanks, like you name. The one person I haven't bought, Miguel. The one person that I haven't, I got stuff from Loxahatchee. We got just all over the place.
Is Brian?
Is Brian Barchak?
Oh
yeah.
Snakes.
So back to that lesser. We're gonna show you him, what he looks like, and then. Like we said, we have like 3 other of those pastel lesser yellow bellies in house.
All right, guys. So the snake that I was talking about earlier, this is the pastel lesser that I. Jim doesn't want me to touch.
He's behaving.
He's
Don't mess with him. He's behaving.
So this is the pastel lesser that I was talking about that we purchased back when we first started. Looking at him now compared to other snakes that we produced, we did.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see him here. I mean, he's not a bad looking snake. He's kind of like a brown with some like creamish yellowish on his flanks. But definitely there's it's clear as a bell. There's no yellow belly in this animal. Do your research. Figure out what you want and why you want it, where you want to go. And if that means you got to save for another month or 2 to get that animal, then save for a month or 2 to get that animal. So now you can see these are the siblings. So these are pastel lesser yellow bellies. One looks a little bit better than the other. I'm speculating there could be like an unknown het involved, but they're so close. It's tough. It's really tough to say. It really could just be kind of luck of the draw or whatever.
Yeah, because you look at this one's got more of the darker browns in it, and then you look at this one and it's just got a whole bunch of like pastel creamy yellows to it.
Again, and I'll show you why this is yellow belly. So when you look at this animal, you can see right along the sides you got all this flecking down the sides, and it's on both sides of that belly. That's yellow belly that does that. And then you can also see how all these keyholes, or what used to be alien heads, they just float right up. See that? They just float right up off the background. They're all circled with that black. It just looks absolutely ridiculous. Now if I come back to this guy, you look at that belly, there's no flecking on that belly at all, anywhere. So and these don't really float, and they look pretty standard keyholes. So it is a standard pastel lesser. So this is another one. You can see again that belly, all that flecking, all down the sides. That's all yellow belly. And again, doesn't have this, as many blanked out. Definitely a clear difference, on what a pastel lesser yellow belly and a pastel lesser look like. Do your research and buy the animals that, that you want to have, and have a plan, and, think about it all. All right, so one of the last topics that I think we both feel, and most people feel, that is, you know, crucially important if you're going to make a go at breeding, at a productive hobby, or as a business. When you start out, and I would say probably for, you know, the first year and a half, any purchases you make, and even other than maybe one male, should all be females. Your first purchase should be a female. For the next year and a half, if you purchase anything else, it should all be females.
Yep.
I mean, these girls are going to take 2 years to get to proper weight, size, and maturity, and you can't do anything in the meantime other than enjoy them as pets. You know, feed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like get used to their care and all that stuff.
And you hope they get the size, because there's times these guys go off feed, so it can even take even longer to get these girls to size.
I mean, I have a girl that's 3 years old that is like 1,500 grams. Like, and I was like on the fence of whether I should breed her or not, because she's really small for a 3-year-old girl. But we started pairing her this year. We'll see what happens with that. Girls, girls, girls.
Yep.
You need to buy girls. And you know, you hit a year and a half, most of your girls, you know, again, if you strategically plan in a direction like we talked about before, and you're buying girls that fit into that project, and then at 18 months in, you buy a male that puts that project over the top, by the time he's mature enough to breed, your girls are going to come into the right size, weight, and age, and, you know, you'll have, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 girls that are all ready to go, and you're going to have a killer male that's going to plug every, you know, those 1 or 2 genes that you're looking for across the board into multiple different genes, and maybe some of the same, so you can hit supers or something like that, and you just set it off like that. So girls, 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 and then out of your production, more than likely, you're going to keep mostly girls from those clutches. Maybe another male that is just off the charts. Highest quality you possibly can. And, you know, girls, girls, girls. And not just, and some people say, oh, it's a girl, you keep it, every girl. I don't do that. The quality's got to be there. Something different's got to be there.
And it's got to fit the project.
And, yeah, it's got to fit the stuff you're working on. Like, I have a spider female. She's to size and weight and age, and, you know, she breeds. She's going to produce eggs. I probably won't get rid of her because she's already
to size
at least initially, for, you know, probably another couple years, couple seasons. I'm not going to get rid of her until I make something that will replace her. I grow it up and it's to size, and then those 2 or 3 genes, when they start breeding, then I'll sell her. There's times that, you know, you can have a male that has, you know, a couple extra genes than a, you know, say if you had a 4-gene male and 2 of the genes are the same as the father. A lot of people will sell the father thinking that little one's going to grow up and start breeding and replace him, which theoretically would be accurate. If he don't start breeding for you right away, you can go into breeding season and be hosed. So make sure those animals are to weight, that they're breeding, and they're gonna be a good replacement for what you're going to replace them with. Otherwise, you can find yourself in like a down season where you're not going to be able to produce much.
As we were talking about like quality, what we want to fit into projects, as you can see, Jim's got over here, this is our Enchi clown female. If you look back at some of our videos, there was a video where Jim was absolutely devastated. He ended up breeding some clown stuff. It didn't produce any clowns. So Jim went out and he purchased something that he was really looking for, what he wanted, and to be able to continue that clown project. She's a gorgeous girl. She, a joy to look at every single day.
And this girl so far is a mouser. Like, she will not touch rats.
No.
But dude, she's growing equally as fast as all the rat eaters that I have.
Yeah, she was much smaller, and she's starting to gain size on this girl.
Hold on, I want to grab the red stripe. Here's another one that I was ecstatic to get her because she had these great. Here, I'll hold her up. So this is kind of like a little update video you can see of her. Ridiculous. Nice, but she's getting dark.
Oh yeah,
like
she's
dark.
dark.
This used to be a nice golden color. She just shed probably a week ago, and now like everything is just getting super dark on her. Like I feel like she's going like almost IMG-ish on me, if you will, which I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. But again, you're gonna get what you pay for, and when they get to size and they start producing, you know. It's an investment animal. I think that term gets used a lot. But you know, I mean, if you're going to do this and you going to put a lot of money into animals, you at least want to get your money back and pay for rodents. You know, that's making money.
Yeah.
That is making money in this. You know, and some people are fortunate enough to do this and make a living doing it. Brian Barczyk, Justin Kobylka, you know, Kevin McCurley, and, you know, Mike Wilbanks, and like the list goes on and on. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that if I could.
I would love to be able to sit, or not sit around, but be able to day in and day out, be able to work with reptiles all day long. I could sit there and do this, you know, of course, family time, but we both love working with these reptiles so much. We wish that it could be our sole purpose.
Well, maybe not my sole purpose,
but
like
you know,
like
job.
a source of income or
right.
whatever.
Over the years, we've learned, we've done our research, we know what we're looking for, and it's gonna make our projects and the snakes that we produce where we want it to be. So
again, this will be a long video as we're accustomed to doing. I'm just hoping that, you know, we can share some of our mistakes and things that, you know, that are also said all over the place. Sometimes it takes hearing something 7 different times from 7 different people, 7 different ways before it really sinks in and makes sense. But anyways, that's the end of that video. Thank you so much. I mean, golly, if you're still here.
We're sorry we went for so long.
If you're still here, you are the ultimate YouTube subscriber. Ultimate subscriber. Thank you very much from the Ectothermic Dungeon. This is Jim and Matt signing off. See you later. Peace.
Peace.